Welcome to the Injection Connection, in-depth discussions with thought leaders and professionals in the polyurethane infrastructure repair industry.
Do you have a personal favorite grout? Not necessarily by name, but a type of grout, hydrophilic, flexible, or just anything that you like to go towards?
Well, yes, yeah, the old hydrophilics, phobics, probably the best because you can change them around depending on the temperatures and things of that nature. And you can, well, the thing is, and you can even mix them, the hydrophobics and hydrophilics. We've done that in the field by mistake, and boy, they were the cat's meow at that time. They're real tickets. So just the old standard grouts work well. And and again, it goes back to the manufacturer. If you're using a small, manufacturer like we were at Denif or at Alchemy Speed Tech, the old products, those are just quality products, and you could do a lot and change them in the field. So you feel very comfortable. So if you got in a situation where you needed a little faster reaction, you could do it. With the newer grouts, I've been out of the business now for 3 or 4 years, but again, the old grouts had a lot of flexibility, and you could actually mix and match different products that weren't in the books. You could do some pretty neat stuff with them and stop some pretty good holes. And then some situations, if you're down below in a dam, it's not a bad thing if you can't get it, walk away for a day or two and think about it, and go reevaluate. Don't just sit there and waste gallon after gallon after gallon when it's not working. There's other ways to do it.
Right. So one of the issues I've seen, and actually I struggle with some, is using chemical grouts in dry conditions. So say like you're down in Arizona, Southern California, and they know they have a leak, but it only leaks, once or twice a year or something like that, or just during a rain. And so they're typically grouting when it's dry.
Right.
Do you have any suggestions on how to kind of overcome those kind of hurdles?
Yeah, a lot of times, we try to put you to the rainy season, but if you can't, then you use copious amounts of water to get that structure saturated. You want that structure, you want the concrete around it, you want it, surface saturated, really wet in there. If you're doing an irrigation canal, again, you get that surface wet. If you have to puddle it for a while, get that structure really wet, because then the grout really adheres and chases it to its maximum extent, and it can really lock itself in. Because if you don't do it right, it's just going to shrink away, or it's not going to bond well. And then when it's really needed, it may just blow itself out or leak around it and finally break down and not work.
Right. Well, one last question. Oh, go. What's that?
I said, so lots of water is your friend.
Yes, indeed. I like to give the analogy to people that if I hired you to come into my house and paint a room, and when you showed up to paint it, I turned all the lights off and closed the doors, it was pitch black in there, you could still paint the walls, but it probably is not going to look good when we turn the lights back on. And I look at it the same way with waterproofing. If the water's not there, you don't know where you're going to move that leak to or whatnot. So adding copious amounts of water and stuff is very important.
That's very important, yeah, because you may stop it here, but then when the water comes up, it's going to find a hole somewhere else that you didn't grout because it wasn't wet. Yeah, absolutely.